Tonight, I'm adding another shelter to that list.
My hammock gear Quest 12-foot tarp. So let's get it set up. Home sweet home for the night. Dinner tonight.
So I've slept outside many times. Mostly, I'm in a tent. Sometimes I'm in a hammock. Sometimes I'm in my truck. But tonight, I'm adding another shelter to that list.
So inside my pack, I've got everything that I need to spend a night out in the woods in my tarp setup. So as you can see, it's dark outside. It means I gotta set up in the dark. It's kind of my first time setting up my tarp shelter in the dark. So we'll see how that goes. But what I'm using tonight is my Nemo tensor, just my standard backpacking sleeping pad, and my hammock gear 12-foot, I think it's the Quest tarp. I'm gonna get that set up and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So I think this looks like as good a spot as any. It's relatively flat. No big widowmakers above me. And that's the number one rule for selecting your campsite. Make sure that there's no widowmakers above your head or huge branches that are dead and that could fall on you while you're sleeping. So I think what I'm gonna do, put the foot end of the tarp, I'll just attach it directly to the tree, pretty close to the ground. The wind's kind of coming from this direction, so I want the side of the tent or the tarp to go like this. Kind of block some of that wind from me. That side will be pretty much on the ground. I think I'm just gonna have one of my trekking poles kind of support it here and have it just kind of, tall enough, kind of like a tent, to where you can sit up comfortably, but you definitely can't stand up. So let's get that unpacked. So for the gear I brought along with me today, if you haven't seen already, I use a Gear Mountain Drifter pack. It's a 38-liter roll top backpack. I've got my Nemo Philo Elite, just a backpacking pillow. My trekking poles, they're Cascade Mountain Tech, just standard aluminum poles. This is a ground pad attachment kit for my Nemo tensor and my hammock gear 30-degree premium burrow quilt. I've got a 1/8 inch sleeping pad. That's just I'm gonna put that directly onto the ground, on top of my ground sheet that I have in here, as well as my stakes, just to help make sure my pad doesn't move around, to make sure it doesn't get punctured. And I mentioned my hammock gear Quest 12-foot tarp. So let's get it set up. Wow, okay, well, I don't know if you could even see much from the time lapse, but that was a pain and a half. Turns out it's a little bit more difficult to set up a tarp by yourself than I expected. So, did more of like an A-frame style. The back's down just a little bit, staked directly to the ground, and then the top, or I guess the front, is using my guy lines. And there's a whole lot of room in there. Let's get the bedding all set up. Well, here we are. Home sweet home for the night. Yeah, I can tell you immediately, I wish I made my ground sheet a little bit larger. This is just the one I use for my land stand 2. That's a trekking pole tent, 2-person tent. Like I mentioned, I have my Nemo Tensor, Nemo Philo Elite, and my hammock gear. This is a 30-degree, 850 fill down. And here's the home for the night. So I'm not going at it alone tonight. My girlfriend's actually gonna meet me here with both dogs here pretty soon, actually. It's about 6:20. It's pitch black. We're deep in the woods here in Oak Openings Metro Park. I think it's time for me to chop some firewood. Then after that, it's dinner time. Alright guys, word to the wise. I only cut a few pieces of this wood. This is definitely not an ideal firewood cutting scenario. Please don't follow my lead. Don't do that. Alright guys, just real quick visual representation of the different types of firewood you should have, or I should say different sizes. So first you're going to want your very thin stuff. This is pencil lead to pencil size. There's some stuff that's a little bit larger. Then of course just tiny bit larger, and then continue getting bigger and bigger all the way to, you know, your full, you know, like kind of firewood logs that you would buy from the grocery store, something like that at the gas station. The reason why you don't want to put these directly onto the fire is, I mean, well, it's going to take a lot of energy to burn that huge piece of wood. I mean, just take a look at that compared to that. So all of this stuff in the proper, you know, kind of order and fire lay will build up plenty of energy to burn all of this stuff, keep you nice and warm for a long time. Believe it or not, guys, today's December 29th. It's almost New Year's, and I'm in a t-shirt outside. To be fair, I've been working up a bit of a sweat, you know, kind of chopping some firewood, setting up my shelter, doing all that sort of stuff. I'm a sweaty guy in the first place, but this is crazy. I think my truck said it was like 57 degrees when I pulled in here. And that's why we're out tarp camping, because I didn't want it to be too cold, just in case I got too cold and had to bail. Of course, I got the truck here ready for me, as always. My girlfriend will be in here with the dogs tonight, and I'll be out in the tarp.
dinner tonight. We've got some asparagus, some hiker potatoes, and steak. For the asparagus, keeping it really simple, sauteing it in a little butter. Got some chopped garlic to add there as well, and a little bit of sea salt. Steak of the night is a cheap sirloin. Well, turns out I've yet to master the art of cooking a steak on the cast iron on this little thing. I don't know if it needs to preheat a little bit longer or what, but asparagus and garlic, as well as the steak, and some mashed potatoes. Ooh, time to dish it up. All right, dinner tonight. All right, so that dinner was absolutely delicious. The asparagus turned out really well. The steak turned out pretty good too, better than last time. I still need to, I guess, do some practicing on the camp stove with the cast iron for the steak. What I want to know is, how do you guys do dishes when you're out truck camping? Because what I did today is I just kind of got a little bit of hot water and mixed it with some dish soap, of course, and kind of cleaned everything that way. Used a lot of water to rinse. Not my favorite. Kind of made a little bit of a mess. Let me know what you guys do. Looks like it might rain a bit tonight. Of course, the tarp is a cat cut, so it's not square. The head looks like it could come back just a little bit in case it does rain, because the tail here is definitely sticking out. So we're gonna have to adjust this guy a little bit. Okay, we got it moved. Perfect. Plenty of room. Got the feet tucked way nice in there. So I can always push myself down just a little bit if I need to. Perfect. We'll see if that does. And as always, guys, if you're planning something different, something you haven't done before, something that could potentially put you at risk, like getting rained on when you only have a tarp and a down sleeping bag, the potential to get really cold, make sure you have a bug out plan. And of course, mine tonight is the truck that's parked 20 yards away. All right, friends, it's about 9 p.m. Retired to the tarp for the night. So far, really digging it, honestly. It's really breezy. It's like 55 degrees, which is crazy again, the end of December. Literally last week, I was in Upper Michigan, and there was a blizzard, and Toledo, it was like minus 26. It's a 75 degree difference for the middle or the end of December even, so that's pretty insane. It's a little breezy. It's gonna stay 55 all night. Hopefully the rain holds off. Speaking of the breeze though, my pole, trekking pole holding up the head of my tent already fell over once, but I do think that was because I forgot to do the stake all the way. So it's time. I'm gonna run around and make sure that all the stakes are properly seated, fully into the ground, before I get back into the tarp and just relax until bedtime. All right, guys. Well, I'm tired. It's been a long day. It's about 10 p.m. About 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and I'm cozy in the tarp. All right. Well, reckon it's time for me to hit the hay and catch up with y'all in the morning. Good morning. It's super bright. It's about 6 a.m. Some rain woke me up. I'm staying really dry though. It's breaking the rain right now. I think I might just pack up before it gets too wet.
some good distance away from the actual rain. I would definitely recommend Tyvek or something. It's like painter's drop cloth. I don't know if this is condensation or what, but everything is soaked. It's all over the place. Kind of got the quilt a little bit wet. Maybe it's making it a little bit drafty. Not quite sure, but definitely not the best. If you guys are tarp campers and you've seen this before, let me know. Is that just condensation, something you got to deal with, or would Tyvek be better? And guys, like I mentioned, I think I'm just gonna, it's about 6 a.m. I think I'm gonna pack up. The rain stays away for a little while. I might make some coffee. But I think I'm gonna hang out in the back of the truck with the dogs, girl, for a little while. Thanks for coming along on my first tarp camping adventure. As always, guys, if you like this content, leave me a like. You like tarp camping, or are you more of a tent camper? Leave me a comment below. As always, guys, if you kind of like this, if you like this content, consider subscribing. All right. We'll see you in the next one.